Think about the sponge sitting on your kitchen sink right now. It's soft, porous, designed to absorb. Now, imagine soaking that sponge in thick, sticky stationery glue and leaving it out under the scorching midday sun. Within an hour, that once useful tool transforms. It becomes a hard, lifeless stone, brittle and utterly incapable of absorbing a single drop of water. This, my friends, is not just a simple kitchen analogy. It is a precise biological metaphor for what happens inside your body every single morning when a typical breakfast, a sandwich made of bleached white bread and a slice of greasy processed sausage, lands on your plate. You wake up, perhaps feeling a sense of routine, believing you're fueling up for the day, giving your body the energy it needs to function. But in reality, you are performing a slow, systematic sabotage. You are clogging your internal machinery with a biological glue. This substance doesn't just pass through you harmlessly, it accumulates. It hides in the delicate folds of your intestines, poisoning your bloodstream and slowly draining the very strength and vitality you're trying to build. Here is something that might surprise you. A sandwich doesn't have to be a slow-acting poison. What if it could be transformed into a powerful medicine, a tool that makes your digestive system work with the precision and efficiency of a finely tuned Swiss watch? Stay with me until the very end of this conversation. I am going to share something truly life-changing, the recipe for a special morning elixir. When you combine this simple elixir with the right kind of breakfast, you create a cleansing effect that is far more powerful and natural than any expensive pharmacy remedy or trendy detox tea you've ever considered. Hello, I'm Dr. John Miller. Over my 50 years in practice, I have witnessed the profound evolution of our modern diet and its increasingly devastating effects on the human body. I've seen thousands of patients, good, hard-working people, who come to me complaining of the same persistent issues. A heavy, uncomfortable feeling in the gut, chronic bloating, and the frustrating irregularity of their bowel movements. They often seek salvation in a pill bottle, hoping for a quick chemical fix, but they completely overlook the most important tool they possess, their plate. We've grown accustomed to thinking of a sandwich as merely a dry snack, something we grab on the run and wash down with litres of tea or coffee just to force it down. We've labelled it unhealthy by default. But the fundamental issue isn't the form of the food itself, it's its content. Today, we're going to perform a nutritional autopsy. We will meticulously take apart every single layer of your breakfast. I will teach you how to reassemble it, not just to avoid clogging your system, but to provide a powerful, natural push toward internal purification and vibrant health. We've lost a very basic skill. We've forgotten how to chew. We've become a generation that consistently chooses whatever is soft. We reach for white buns that dissolve into nothing, delicate pâtés and processed cheeses that melt on the tongue. These foods feel easy to eat, almost effortless, but they turn into dead weight the moment they hit your stomach. Your intestines are a muscle, a complex and vital organ, and like any muscle, they need work, they need volume, they need resistance. Without this essential work, the intestinal walls become lazy and weak. Peristalsis, that rhythmic wave-like contraction that efficiently moves waste through your body, begins to fade. Soon, you find yourself counting the days between trips to the bathroom. This isn't just a minor discomfort or an inevitable part of getting older. This is a state of slow, insidious self-poisoning. It manifests in your dull complexion, your noticeable lack of vigor, and even your mood. When there is stagnation in the gut, there is an undeniable fog in the head. You simply cannot maintain a clear, sharp mind if your internal pipes are backed up and toxic. Many of my patients, with genuine frustration, ask, "Dr. John, I try. I eat fibre, I buy the bread with the healthy labels, so why does my stomach still feel like a balloon?" This brings us to the first great secret of the smart sandwich. Fibre, when consumed without the right accompaniment, is not a cleanser. It's like pouring dry sand into a rusty, dry pipe. It won't clean the pipe, it will just create a bigger, harder blockage. To make your breakfast truly work for you, you must understand the underlying mechanics of digestion. We aren't here to talk about restrictive diets. I find that word stressful and often counterproductive. We are here to talk about the timeless wisdom of biology and how to forge a harmonious relationship with your body through simple, intentional actions. There's an old medical saying, one that has resonated through centuries of healing wisdom: death begins in the gut. It sounds harsh, perhaps even a bit alarmist, but it contains a profound, undeniable truth that our modern medical system often chooses to ignore. If we do not learn to cleanse and nurture our inner temple on a daily basis, no amount of vitamins, supplements, or expensive rejuvenating procedures will make a lasting difference. You simply cannot build a beautiful, resilient house on a rotten, unstable foundation. Today, we are going to lay that solid foundation. I have prepared a step-by-step blueprint for assembling what I call the perfect breakfast. We will meticulously go from the initial selection of the grain to the final, secret touch that transforms a simple sandwich into a masterpiece of functional nutrition. I am not here to write you a standard prescription on an official form. I am here to share the wisdom accumulated over decades of experience and to guide you. Our ultimate goal isn't just to treat a symptom, it's to create the optimal biological conditions where your body can finally begin to restore and heal itself. Your body is an absolute miracle of self-regulation. It just needs you to stop inadvertently getting in its own way. Let's be honest about our typical morning routines. Most of us make the same fundamental mistake the moment we step into the kitchen. We wake up, pour a cup of strong black coffee and slice off a piece of white bread. It feels like a classic time-honoured ritual, something we've done for years, perhaps decades. But for your intestines, this seemingly innocent routine is a violent blow. Why? Because that high-grade white bread is, in essence, pure starch. It has been systematically stripped of its life-giving nutrients. During the industrial processing of the grain, the most valuable parts, the nutrient-rich outer shell and the living germ, are ruthlessly discarded. What remains is essentially empty flour. When this refined flour mixes with your saliva and gastric juices, it doesn't just digest in a healthy way, it rapidly turns into a sticky, viscous paste. This paste then coats the microscopic villi of your intestines, the very structures specifically designed to absorb vital nutrients into your bloodstream. It literally paralyzes their crucial work. Imagine a factory conveyor belt designed to move products smoothly. If you were to pour something thick, slippery and sticky onto that belt, what would happen? The gears would start to slip. The belt would stall. This is precisely what happens to your peristalsis, the natural wave-like contractions that propel food for your digestive tract. Your intestines try desperately to push this sticky mass along, but there is nothing for the muscles to grab onto. There are none of those coarse, natural fibres that, like tiny brushes, should stimulate the nerve endings on the intestinal walls. As a direct result, the food sits, it stagnates, and in the warm, dark, moist environment of your gut, stagnation always, inevitably, leads to fermentation and decay. This is the root cause of that uncomfortable evening bloating, when your stomach feels like a tight drum and your belt starts to feel like a medieval torture device.
Now, let's consider the role of that morning coffee. Caffeine is undoubtedly a powerful stimulant, but it is also treacherous when misused. It triggers a sharp, often violent contraction of the gallbladder, dumping a concentrated dose of bile into an empty duodenum. Bile is a highly aggressive digestive fluid. Its primary purpose is to break down fats, but when there's no food, specifically no fat, to digest, it just irritates the delicate lining of your system. In response, your body enters a protective shutdown mode. A phase of inhibition sets in. Your intestines literally fall asleep. By the time you actually eat that sandwich 2 hours later, your digestive system is in standby mode. It isn't ready for work. Your breakfast just sits there, a heavy, undigested weight on top of a sleeping system. Then there is the pervasive dry snack trap. We are always rushing, grabbing a bite as we run out the door, barely chewing, if at all. But digestion doesn't begin in the stomach, it begins the moment food enters your mouth. Your saliva contains vital enzymes that act as the scouts, initiating the breakdown process and preparing the food for the long journey ahead. If you swallow a piece whole, your stomach has to work 3 times as hard, pumping out excessive hydrochloric acid to compensate. This creates massive internal stress and acidifies your entire body. And in an acidic environment, as is well known, the beneficial bacteria, the good guys who are our main helpers in processing fibre, cannot survive. They die off, leaving the field wide open for pathogenic flora that thrives on sugar and starch. This, my friends, is how the insidious cycle of self-poisoning truly begins. Imagine your intestines as a sophisticated, intricate irrigation system, vital for nourishing the entire landscape of your body. Trying to run that system without enough water is like attempting to sail a massive heavy ship across a dry, cracked desert. It's simply impossible. I hear the same complaint from countless patients every single day. Dr. John, I eat my vegetables, I have my salads, I even eat bran bread, but I still struggle with dry, difficult stools. This brings us to a critically important realization, one that is often overlooked. Fibre without water is not a cleanser, it is cement. If you eat bran bread or a high-fibre apple but fail to provide your body with a sufficient amount of liquid, that fibre will start to act like a desperate sponge. It will aggressively pull water from your own internal tissues, from your cells, just to move. It swells inside you, but instead of becoming soft, pliable and mobile, it turns into a hard, stubborn plug, creating an even worse blockage. This is precisely why the first non-negotiable rule of the health formula is this: you must drink a glass of warm water immediately upon waking.
But not just any water. It must be specifically warm, around 40 degrees Celsius. Cold water, straight from the tap or refrigerator, causes a spasm in your sphincters, effectively locking the gates of your digestive tract. It shocks the system. Warm water, however, gently coaxes the entire system awake. It encourages the crucial flow of bile and signals to the intestines that the workday has begun. I often observe people, desperate to regulate their bowel movements, resorting to uncontrollably drinking laxative teas or taking pills from the pharmacy. This, I must tell you, is a dangerous and ultimately futile path. Most of these remedies work by harshly irritating the intestinal lining. They are essentially whipping a tired, overworked horse. Yes, you might get a temporary result today. You might feel a fleeting sense of relief. But tomorrow, your intestines will be even lazier, even more dependent. They become accustomed to that external whip and gradually lose the inherent ability to function efficiently on their own. We call this lazy bowel syndrome. Our goal, however, is the exact opposite. We want to restore your body's natural, sovereign strength so it can perform its vital functions without chemical crutches or artificial stimulation. We also need to address another major dietary mistake, one often made in the misguided pursuit of slimness, the irrational fear of healthy fats. In their quest for a trimmer waistline, many people over 50 have completely eliminated butter and other healthy fatty products from their breakfast. This, from a biological perspective, is a disaster. The bile that has been diligently collecting in your gallbladder all night is only released in response to the intake of fat. If your breakfast is completely fat-free, perhaps just a bowl of oatmeal made with water or a dry cracker, the bile stays trapped. It thickens, turns into a dangerous sludge, and eventually forms painful stones.
But more importantly for our purposes today, bile is the body's best natural stimulant for peristalsis. Without its crucial presence, your intestines simply never receive the essential go signal to begin their work. Therefore, including the right kind of fat in your morning sandwich isn't about adding extra calories, it is a vital metabolic necessity, a key to unlocking your digestive potential. This leads us directly to the core secret of the smart sandwich. To truly work its magic, it must be meticulously balanced in 3 specific directions. It needs the right structural base, high-quality protein, and, most importantly, a highly efficient transport mechanism for internal cleansing. We aren't just stacking ingredients randomly. We are deliberately building a biologically active, synergistic construction. In the next part, we will move to the most interesting aspect, choosing that very bread that will become your ally, not your enemy. I will teach you how to read labels between the lines and distinguish a real whole grain product from a painted deceptive fake.
After all, the devil, as is often said, lies in the details, and it is on these seemingly small details that it depends whether you wake up tomorrow with a feeling of profound lightness or will again struggle with internal heaviness. Let's address the liquid question one more time, because it's where most people fundamentally stumble. I often hear, "But Dr. John, I drink plenty of tea and juice throughout the day. Isn't that enough?" My dear friends, to your body, tea, coffee, and even fruit juice are not pure hydration. They are food. Your system has to expend precious energy and resources to filter them and extract the pure water it desperately needs. We need water as a solvent, a pure cleansing agent. Imagine trying to wash a muddy floor with sweet lemonade. You wouldn't get a clean floor, you'd just get a sticky, sugary mess. The same principle applies to your insides. Only pure, warm water possesses the unique power to effectively wash out the products of decay and to adequately moisturize your fecal masses, making them soft and easy to pass. Have you ever truly wondered why bread from the supermarket can remain suspiciously soft and seemingly fresh for weeks on end, defying the natural laws of decay? If you've ever looked at a loaf and felt a flicker of suspicion about its unnatural immortality, your instincts were absolutely right. Most modern mass-produced bread is what I unequivocally call zombie food. It looks like food, it might even smell like food, but there is no biological life left in it whatsoever. For our smart sandwich, we need bread that possesses character. We need bread that is alive, that has undergone a natural transformation. Forget those fluffy, airy white loaves and soft buns that smell so deceptively sweet in the store. For your intestines, those are nothing more than white death in a miniature, convenient package. The ideal foundation for your health, the cornerstone of your smart sandwich, is whole grain, yeast-free bread made with a natural sourdough starter. Why sourdough? Because a sourdough starter is not just an ingredient, it is a living, thriving community of beneficial bacteria and wild yeast. During the long, slow fermentation process, these remarkable microorganisms pre-digest the complex sugars and gluten for you. This makes the bread significantly easier on your digestive system and actively prevents the painful bloating and discomfort that so many people experience after eating standard, fast-fermented, yeast-based products. When you go to the grocery store, please do not be swayed by the clever marketing on the front of the package. Words like fitness, multigrain, or natural often mean very little in the complex world of food labelling. Instead, flip the package over and meticulously read the ingredients list. The very first ingredient should unequivocally be whole grain rye flour or whole wheat flour. If the first thing you see is wheat flour of the highest grade, which is just a fancy, misleading name for white flour, followed by a tiny bit of bran somewhere at the end of the list, put it back on the shelf. They are attempting to sell you a white bun that has simply been lightly painted brown to appear healthy. Real health-promoting bread for your intestines should be heavy, it should be dense, it shouldn't look artificially perfect or uniform. If you press down on it, it shouldn't spring back like a piece of foam rubber. It should feel substantial, like real, wholesome food. If you have the opportunity, actively seek out bread that contains the addition of seeds, flax, sunflower, pumpkin, or sesame. These tiny seeds are like biological time capsules, packed with valuable essential oils and additional fibre. As they move through your system, they act as gentle micro-massagers for your intestinal walls, keeping the muscles engaged and active. However, exercise caution with breads that are excessively loaded with dried fruits, like raisins or dried apricots. When mixed with grain, these concentrated sugars can cause excessive fermentation, which is the last thing you want if you're already prone to gas and discomfort. We are striving for purity and peace within your gut, so it is generally better to add fresh ingredients directly on top of the sandwich. Now, let's talk about the lubricant. What are we spreading on this carefully chosen bread? Please, I implore you, throw away the margarine and the cheap, highly processed spreads. These are trans fats, industrial, artificial products that systematically clog your arteries and slow your metabolism to a grinding halt. The absolute best choice is high-quality, real butter with a fat content of at least 82%. I know, it sounds counterintuitive to everything you've been told about healthy eating for decades. But as we discussed earlier, we absolutely need that healthy fat to trigger the gallbladder. A thin, judicious layer of good butter in the morning acts as a vital lubricant for your entire digestive machinery. If for some reason you do not consume dairy products, a ripe avocado is an excellent, nutrient-dense alternative. It's often called nature's butter for a very good reason. It's packed with unique, beneficial fatty acids and a huge amount of potassium, which is absolutely essential for the proper contraction of your intestinal muscles. The ideal morning scheme should look precisely like this. You wake up, you drink your glass of warm water. If you don't have issues with high acidity, you can add a few drops of fresh lemon juice to help gently rinse the stomach and stimulate digestion. Then you wait a crucial 20 to 30 minutes.
This waiting period is absolutely vital. Give the warm water time to do its important work, to wake up your system. When you finally sit down to enjoy your smart sandwich, here is a rule that might genuinely surprise you. Do not wash it down immediately with a drink. Let your own natural enzymes, those incredible biological workers, do their job uninterrupted. If you flood your stomach with liquid while you're actively eating, you dilute your gastric juices. The digestion process slows down dramatically, and instead of the food being properly broken down and assimilated, it can begin to putrefy. This one simple change in timing, waiting 30 minutes to drink after you eat, can be the profound difference between a day full of vibrant energy and a day spent battling your own stomach. Now we arrive at a component of the sandwich that most people unfortunately treat as a mere afterthought, a garnish, but which I consider to be absolutely paramount to the greens.
Greens on a sandwich are not a decoration. They are not there simply to make the plate look pretty or to add a splash of colour. They are, in fact, a biological piston, a powerful, natural force that actively pushes everything through your system. I'm talking about a thick, generous pillow of fresh, vibrant leaf lettuce, spinach, or arugula. Greens are essentially living chlorophyll and structured water. They provide that very necessary volume and bulk that signals to your intestines, hey, it's time to wake up and move. The more greens you can pile onto that sandwich, the easier and more efficiently the entire meal will pass through your body. I particularly recommend incorporating bitter greens, such as arugula or watercress. In our modern diet, we have almost entirely eliminated bitter flavours, favouring the more palatable, sweet and salty tastes instead. But bitterness is a primary biological signal for your liver and gallbladder to release their crucial digestive enzymes and bile. When you taste that slight, invigorating bite of arugula, your body is already preparing the perfect chemical environment to optimally digest your breakfast. Now let's talk about the protein component. This is another area where many people make critical errors. If you're putting store-bought sausage, hot dogs, or highly processed ham on your morning sandwich, you are, quite frankly, undoing all your hard work and negating the benefits of the other carefully chosen ingredients. These products are invariably loaded with excessive sodium, chemical preservatives, and often hidden sugars. The high salt content causes your tissues to retain water, leading to edema or swelling, not just in your ankles, but critically in the very walls of your intestines. Swollen intestinal walls move much slower and less efficiently. Instead, reach for real, whole, unprocessed proteins. A slice of turkey breast that you baked yourself, a piece of lean, boiled beef, or even better, lightly salted, wild-caught fish like salmon or chum salmon. Fish is a miracle food for the gut because it's exceptionally rich in omega-3 fatty acids. These essential fats act like an internal fire extinguisher, actively cooling down inflammation in the gut and making the intestinal walls more elastic, pliable, and responsive. For my vegetarian and vegan friends, hummus is an incredible nutrient-dense option, Made from chickpeas, it provides a powerful double hit of plant protein and fibre. However, chickpeas can sometimes be loud in the gut. They can cause gas and bloating for some individuals. The secret to enjoying hummus without this discomfort is to add digestive spices. Cumin, coriander, and a little bit of fresh ginger are like kindling for your digestive fire. They help the body efficiently break down the complex carbohydrates in the beans, preventing gas formation. In fact, spices in general are your greatest allies in the quest for regular, comfortable bowel movements. Even something as simple as freshly ground black pepper sprinkled directly onto your sandwich can stimulate the production of hydrochloric acid, ensuring your food is properly broken down from the very beginning of the digestive process.